Back at it, back at the Rio, back in the mix at the World Series of Poker in the main event, day 2. Damn, and it is not any cooler today. I took the hoodie off. I saw a suggestion in the comments about maybe taking the hoodie off while I'm outside in this 100 degree heat or so. Seems reasonable. I'm gonna try it. And yeah, first break here. Played the first level. Again, 2-hour levels. Came into the day with 30-some thousand. Good for about 60 big blinds. Not too much to report here in this first level of play on day 2. Just kind of grinding it out, waiting for good spots. Had ace jack suited, had ace queen, had ace king. The ace jack and the ace king did not work out. With the ace queen, there was a under the gun limper. I raised, he folded. So only one real hand of interest to report so far. Again, in the first level, blinds are 300, 600. My stack at this point is somewhere around 34, 35,000. Gonna try and get down here and block the wind a little bit. Anyway, working on a 35K stack, raising the 6-7 of hearts from under the gun +1. Middle position player calls, big blind calls. So 3 ways to a flop, which comes king 5-3 with 2 hearts. So no pairs, but you could say it's pretty favorable for the 6-7. Flop a flush draw and a gutter ball to the nuts. Big blind checks. I decide to continue here. 2,400 to go. Middle position player folds and the big blind calls. Turns a good one for us. It's the 8 of hearts. So improved to a flush with straight flush redraw. Big blind checks. Gonna go for some value now. I bet 4,200, but the big blind folds kind of quickly. So we win this hand, and that's the only real hand of note in this first level. Carrying on, pushing forward, and just trying to grind it out here. Got up over the 40K mark, and next blind level is going to be 400, 800. So we still have over 50 big blinds to work with. Obviously, we'd prefer a little bit more here, but just looking for spots. Plenty of time here to find something good. Maybe we'll get pocket aces. I'd settle for kings. But yeah, just patience. Patience is the name of the game right now. All right, already wrapping up the 60-minute snack break after level 2, or the second level of the day, that is. Man, the World Series gets a lot of things right, but this 60-minute snack break is definitely not one of them. Anyway, had an interesting hand where there was under the gun +1, raised it up. I 3-bet pocket jacks in middle position. Could maybe use a different sizing there as a 3-bet, but I'm sort of happy to play in position post flop. And if I happen to get 4-bet either behind me or by this player, then I lose the minimum with a smaller sizing. So those are my thoughts with that sizing. Folds back to the initial raiser, makes the call. The flop comes king high and we both check it. Turn is a brick. He checks it again and I bet kind of small. He calls, river's another brick and ends up going check check, and it turns out he has king jack off suit. So pretty unlucky there. Later on, found ace king in the small blind versus a button raise. I 3-bet it, he 4-bets it, we get it in, and we're up against ace king, so we chop that one. Only other hand of note is when the hijack opens it, the cutoff calls, and on the button we look down at pocket jacks again. I go ahead and put in the 3-bet, and both players fold. So that's all that's really happened so far. I've had eights twice. Won one of them, had jacks twice, won one of those. Ace king once, chopped it. Need to find some good spots here. Big blind will be 1,000, and I think we have about 37,000. So pretty much where we started the day at. Pretty close. Kind of treading water, but as the blinds increase, we need to find some good spots. So thinking positive. Let's go. Let's find one of those good spots here. Guys, it is getting exceptionally desperate, sadly. Down to about 17,000 now. Heading to the second to last break, I think. Maybe at least I can get that part right this time. That's gonna leave us about 14 big blinds when we come back to 600, 1,200 with a 200 ante. So we will almost certainly be all in this next level at some point, and we're just gonna have to hope for the best here. I wouldn't say that I'm tilted, just, you know, a little bit disappointed, but not giving up hope, because all we need is one good, you know, solid double up here. With the antes in there, it's more than a double up, and from there we can just be patient again, but not a lot of time left to be patient, unfortunately. So just playing the ranges, you know, the shove fold ranges, and looking for some shovable hands here, and hopefully we get that double up. But yeah, like I said, not really tilted because I just haven't had any hands. I think I had pocket eights again, and I had ace queen. I had ace jack, but there was a raise and a shove in front of me, so that ace jack shrinks up pretty quickly. I might have shoved my ace jack if there was no shove in front of me, but that's whatever. That's neither here nor there. We're in this current situation with 14 big blinds, so send those vibes. The only time we've been at risk in this tournament of going broke was when we had ace king versus ace king. The next circumstance is probably going to be coming up very soon. Let's see what happens. Guys, there is good news and there is bad news. Good news is we're still alive. We made it to darkness yet again. Darkness on day 2 means the last break of the evening. Still alive. We got a full double up the last level. Right off the bat, the very first hand, under the gun raises. We look down at pocket aces next to act, under the gun +1. Jam it all in there. Folds back around in the initial raiser, who makes the call at pocket queens, and board runs out safe for us. So we get the full double up there plus a little bit, including the antes. Managed to take a couple hands down with some raise and take it. Unfortunately, the bad news is that beyond that, there's nothing good to report. Found pocket nines in a raised pot, multi-way. That one cost me about 7,000 when it didn't work out on the flop. Aside from that, no major hands, nothing major to report, nothing super interesting, just antes, blinds, maybe 1 or 2 other raised hands that didn't connect, and as a result, all the way back down to about 22,000 or so. Just can't find that sustained run good, you know? That heater, it just has never happened for us this tournament so far. So blinds are going up to 8 and 1600. That's gonna put us at around the 13 big blind mark. So once again, pray, send prayers that we find those pocket aces right off the bat. I'll settle for kings, queens, jacks, 10s, 9s, maybe even 8s. Guys, if I am sitting here in a place called the Wine Cellar and not sitting at the poker table or outside in the parking lot, it can only mean one thing. That means the dream. The World Series of Poker main event dream is dead for this year. I mean, I don't feel too bad about it. Sure, it's a little bit disappointing, or a lot disappointing, but I'm not really tilted as I might be in, you know, some other tournament bust out situations. I feel like I did the best with what I was given, and yeah, I was just never able to like sustain any momentum in this tournament. Started off on the downswing right off the bat with that ace king hand, peaked at 54,000 or something, but never found, like I said, that momentum to really power through and build a stack. Towards the end there, just got super short, blinds 8 and 1600, folded a few hands before looking down at king 10 offsuit in the small blind. Folds around to me, rip it in there with 9 big blinds, and that one gets through. Big blind folds. Then not too long after that, a few hands later, there was a raise. Look down at ace jack suited, ace jack of hearts, looks pretty, with 11.5 big blinds. Just go with it and jam it in there. It's not gonna be a sweat since we run right into pocket aces. So that's the end of it. That's the end of a day 2. We made it to the last level of the day, but that's it. That's gonna be a wrap. So yeah, I mentioned this place, the Wine Cellar. There's not really gonna be too many recommendations from me when it comes to the home base for the World Series here at the Rio, but this is a pretty cool spot. Pretty good spot to come, I guess, decompress after your bust out hand, busting out of the main event, $10,000 pour. But, you know, like I said, I'm just being a little bit dramatic there. Not really too tilted about it. I feel really good about the patience. Could have mixed it up, could have gambled a little bit more, but I don't think it was wise. I don't think I definitely didn't knit it up. I wasn't dealt a ton of playable hands, and you know, like I said, it was dealt like some Jack-9 suiteds facing a raise, but played pretty disciplined with a short stack and played patiently, waited for my spots, and then just ran out of them basically. So yeah, not gonna be crying into my wine too much. On to the next tournament, cash game, whatever it may be. I'm gonna fire a couple more events, a couple more tournaments. I'll probably post some action. There's the Win main event still, as well as a couple other events over there, some other stuff going on. Summer's not over. Good news, if there is good news to take away from this, Brad and I will both be able to attend our party on the 10th. So if you're in Vegas, come commiserate. But maybe we'll try and win a tournament before that happens. Stay tuned as always, and thanks so much to anybody who was sweating my action with me, whoever sent messages, cheers for that. Let's go on to the next one. More experienced, a little poorer, but more experienced.